Speaking of wine, yeah, this is the part where you get like a nice lady to touch your knee and feed you grapes. Yeah. This is a good celebration. So when you leave an island, there are 4 phases of exodus. Destiny of the island. This is the, I guess, combination downtime and advancement section, right? Like what happens after the adventure. So when you leave an island, you resolve the 4 phases of the exodus: destiny of the island, great deeds, legendary virtues, and change epithet. So you become right. So the characters can change. Okay. All right. So based on the actions of the hero, the outcome of contests in battle, the Strife player determines the destiny of the island. Record its future in the roster of islands in the Strife player's booklet. Oh, that's cool. So like there is a bit of a like a campaign mode where you're like, well, you know what? We saved 1 island, and then we had 2 bad islands, and then we had 3 good islands. So all in all, we did pretty good on our way home, right? Because you stop. It's again that Band of Blades thing where you are retreating from battle, and each location is its own little story. In the same way, I love episodic play. Like I find that, and I think it's just because like I'm so used to playing role-playing games that just sort of meander a little bit. And I'm always trying to make games have like seasons and episodes. I could do a season of this, like a 6-episode show, real easy, right? Because you could just be like, on today's episode, they visit the island of whatever, and then this happens. And you could actually like pre-decide a little bit what was going to happen, which I think you don't necessarily get that freedom otherwise, right? You could pause it like, all right, everybody, we finished the island, we did this script, so get ready, think about for next time, you're gonna visit this island. You could do a little pitch, like a trailer for the next episode, like pretty easily. Yeah, cool. So when you leave an island, this is like the end phase of the adventure or whatever, right? So you, based on what you did, you record the future of the island, what's going to happen on this island, and then we can carry on stuff from there. And then you record, each hero player records a great deed for which they will be remembered, or a trophy they seized in the adventure. Great deeds and trophies can be used as an advantage die later if they apply to a contest. So it's not just like, I am Aklon, mighty Theud, but I am Aklon, mighty Theud, slayer of the ogre of Tremestus, right? And you can like, look at my cool severed ogre head from that island I just came from. You better be scared of me. Bang, bang. Like, let's fight. Yeah. So that's cool. So it does allow you to build up your great deeds, build up your history, right? So once you've used it, you check it off, you get 1 like clear shot at it. And then it's still a part of your history, but you can't use it as a bonus die. However, you can propose a contest to make it relevant again. Oh my God, that's so good. So you use the severed ogre head, and everyone's like, this is that guy that killed the ogre, but you can't use it again because they'd be like, yeah, man, we know you're the ogre killing guy. But you could also be like, come, children of the island, come, join me by the beach, and I will tell you the story of how I killed this ogre and cut off his head. I know you want to know more. Come with me. Come, and we all go sit around the fire, and then I make like an oratory test or whatever. We do the contest, and I have inspired the people of the island to spread my story, and then next time I need to fight, I can be like, yeah, what up? I'm that ogre guy you heard about. Yeah, okay, cool. And then you record a legendary virtue for your hero based on your actions. On your turn, ask the other players which legendary virtue they thought you embodied during the session and why. Each player gives you a mark and a virtue, so if there are 3 other players, you get 3 legendary virtue marks. The players don't have to agree on a single virtue, and by this, it means every player, including the Strife. Yeah, including the Strife player. So then if you have 3 other players, you get those marks. They each have a free choice based on how they saw you. Let me take a look at that character sheet again. So so here's our great deeds and trophies. Oh yeah. There's so many pages. Look, we only looked at the first page of the character sheet. Look at this beautiful second page. This is all the character creation stuff. And then there's the game overview. And there's oh my God, look. This is the GM thing. And then here's our destinies. Oh my God, John. What the hell? This stuff looks so good. Oh yeah, and then here are the, oh my God, these are islands. These are the sample islands. Okay, well, we'll come back and look at all this stuff, but damn. All right. Apparently there's more character sheet than I thought. So I guess your players are, here we go. They're marking acumen, courage, grace, and passion down here. So let's see. On your turn, you ask to mark it. And yeah, we do this as a group. So it's like if you want a specific mark, you have to describe your character being courageous, graceful, passionate, or having acumen. And then if you decide your hero's epithet no longer applies, you can change it to a new one. After her vengeful showdown with the Harpies, Clever-Eyed doesn't seem to reflect Hagne anymore. Nadja decides to create a new epithet, Fiery-Eyed, to reflect Hagne's change of character. Right. So you're like, and I like the idea that this just changes, that everybody just calls you this now because that's your new name. You're just like, yeah, you know what? I've learned from my time on this island, and now I am this other thing. Yeah. Cool. All right. While following the stars to a new island, the characters rest and recover, complete the 4 stages of the voyage. Fellowship. The heroes relax and enjoy each other's company. Yeah. I see them. Look. A gentle touch to the upper arm. A caress of the knee. Oh my. Just saying. So you relax and enjoy each other's company. Taking turns, you ask questions to another hero. That player answers, they both take a bond with each other. Then the next hero player takes their own turn, strengthening bonds, asking questions to a player who has not been asked. Some example questions are below, but create your own. When the fellowship is completed, each hero removes all their marks of pathos. Right. So these are little downtime. I love downtime scenes. I love describing like you come above deck, and despite the fact that there is a terrible storm whipping around us, you see my character, Hergamestus, standing by the edge of the boat, staring out into the storm-tossed sea, my hair whipping about my face. I have a deep sadness in my eyes. You can see that the villagers we were unable to save on the island have like deeply wounded me. What do you say to comfort me? Right? Like, I love these little scenes of like, we're not fighting, we're not screaming and yelling and running around and chopping stuff up. We're just like taking a deep breath, and we're standing together on the bow of the ship thinking about what we've been through, you know? And it lets us, it invites us to, like let other people into our story, right? To narrate like what, oh yeah, if I ever ran this, it would be just it'd be the gayest heroes. Like, it would just be, oh boy. So, so you do that. You do your fellowship. You build up your bonds with the other players, and then you sacrifice. So the hero with the greatest glory leads a sacrifice to the gods. Each god has their preferred oblations, but in general, incense, food, libations, etc. You may also perform for the gods, offer up a trophy in the god's honor, make compromises and promises to the god to perform acts in their service. Ooh, you could also sacrifice things. I like this. Before introducing sacrifices of living creatures into your game, ask the players if they're all comfortable with it. It's great. Good advice. Yeah. So you make a sacrifice. Each hero rolls a contest of resolve and spirit. The Strife player rolls 2d6. Heroes earn glory as usual. The best hero earns a bond with the deity. Win or lose, each hero marks 2 divine favor with their honored god. If they all suffer, the sacrifice is not well received. Who can say what appeases the god's fickle appetites? The Strife player marks wrath with the honored god. Cool. Okay. So wrath was on 27. Wrath is a bonus die. Ah, okay, good. So you could screw up your offering, and the god might be pissed and mark wrath with the honored god. If all the heroes suffer, leadership remains unchanged. Okay. However, during the voyage, the Strife player discovers a challenge. Roll 2d6. The best hero becomes the leader for the next island. Right. Okay. Lost in an unknown sea, surrounded by mist, the heroes catch sight of a scintillating fish as they leap into the air beside the ship. Adrastos quickly strips down to his loincloth, fuck yeah, Adrastos, and prepares to dive into the water. These fish were sent to us by the gods. Whoever catches the largest should lead us. The other heroes agree, and the Strife Player calls for a contest of craft and reason to catch the largest fish. That's pretty cool. Yeah, like, let's all do this thing. I would love, and it lets you like bring forth the individual flavor of each character. That's right, Adrastos the thirstiest of his kind. But I love the idea that it allows you to like say something about your characters, to be like, my character we've seen throughout this is like a big brash kind of goofball, but I want to become leader. So I suggest we made off on this last island with a bunch of casks of wine. I say whoever can drink the most will become the leader. And if everybody else is like, yeah, all right, I could probably outdrink you. Let's do it. You have a big drinking contest. And in the morning when everyone wakes up and shuffles out of the pile of naked bodies, they'd be like, haha, I've done it. I am in charge. I am the least hungover. Yeah, but then another player might be like, let's recite poetry or let's have a sword fight or whatever. Like, we have to deal with this challenge, right? Yeah, we have all this wine and it's going to go bad if we don't drink it. Yeah. Cool. And then based on, this is the thing I'm excited about, this Vault of Heaven. So based on the actions of the hero on the island, the Strife Player marks progress in the Vault of Heaven. Mark a star if the heroes honored or pleased that deity while on the island. Mark 2 stars if the heroes greatly pleased them. Mark Wrath. Mark McGrath? Mark Wrath if the heroes dishonored or displeased that deity on the island. For each star marked, they get 1 divine favor with that deity. If the constellation is already filled, each hero may take 1 divine favor with that deity. Anyway, for each 3 stars marked, each hero earns an advance. So by appealing to the gods, we get better, right? Yeah. I should make one of these charts for Far Verona, but have them be the factions. And every time you displease or please a faction, I mark like, we've got 2 marks of House. We've offended House Crux twice, but we have 2 marks in House Pixis. I think that's a cute way of tracking like favor or reputation in a game. I like that. And also like, it's so on theme. Like look, right? Like, you're using the stars to navigate. The stars reflect the gods. There's like up above using them to get home, but then down below the threats of the unknown. And like, yeah, it's very cool. Okay, John. All right. With your talent. So when a constellation is completely filled, you get a bond with that deity, which you can then use in contests. Homecoming, and this is our tracker for when the game ends. Through trial and danger, you earn the mercy of the gods and release you from your wanderings. When enough constellations are completed in the Vault of Heaven, you finally make it back to hearth and home. The campaign ends, and you earn the right to recount your legacy. Fill 3 constellations in a short game to return home. For a longer game, fill 5. So that means that the game, let's say we do an island in every session, so we mark the vault every time, and let's say you do, I don't know, like let's say you get three stars every 2 sessions. So a short campaign could be like 6 to 8 sessions, it seems like. Yeah. That's cool. And you would each advance like once. I guess it depends on how much you focus on individual gods, right? Because the game could take forever if you do like 1 for each god, because it's filling constellations. Yeah. Right, okay. Since the players want a shorter campaign, they need only 1 more completed constellation, perhaps Athena's, to return them home. Okay. They've also accumulated a fair amount of wrath, particularly with Ares. The furious war god will make their lives difficult before they see home. Yeah, right? Okay. Yeah, all right. Nice. And then your kind of end phase is what all of this like glory business is about. So glory is the measure of epic greatness. What sets you apart from those who are lost to history. So by bringing glory to your name, you earn your place in legend. Legend is important enough that it gets its own chapter. right? This is the Minotaur slaying guy remembering the snake killing lady, right? She has become legendary and now he's looking up to. Yeah. So each time a hero participates in a contest, they get glory. The person who's best that gets the most. We saw this before, right? On the glory track, there are special markers for certain glory amounts. When you hit a marker, advance your name die and reset your glory back to 0. Right. So let's see. Here we go. Glory. Right. Because you're ticking these boxes. And at 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240. And then at 80, your name goes up to a D8. And then at 120, your name goes up to a D10. But it's not 80 and then 120. It's 80 cleared, another 120 cleared. It seems like a lot, but I guess if in a contest you're earning like, I mean, even if you're earning like 10 or 15, if you're the best, I mean, I guess I'd have to see. I'm not sure. This is one of those things that actual play would like hold out. Yeah. Well, it says, so look, it said in the, let me show you, because didn't it say you reduce it when your die goes up? When you hit a marker, yeah, look, advance your name die, then reset your glory back to 0. So the reason that there's 40 is so you fill these all in, clear the boxes and tick 40, fill them in again, now you're at 80, but then you reset them completely, and then you have to go back through 40, and then back through 80. I don't know. It seems unclear to me because it says when you hit 80, you reset, right? But the indicator on it's just steps of 40 on the thing, but nothing happens when you get to 40. You just clear it so you have more room to write. Yeah. But when you hit 80, then you clear them all completely. Yeah, special markers at 80, 120, and 240. When you hit a marker, advance your name die. Yeah, okay, I got it right. It just seems like a lot, but also like it seems like you're earning quite a lot. Like I felt that when I was looking at the contest too. Okay, yeah. So the user experience here is fill the boxes, and so that we didn't have to put 240 boxes on the sheet. you fill in the first 40, erase them all, fill this one in, fill in another 40, click this, and then clear everything. Then do it again. 40, 80. Keep them, go back up to 120. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Interesting. So I wonder how, like, again, and this is something that you know, playtests play out, but I wonder how many sessions, like the timers in my head are like, how long before you get home, and when you get home, how many times on average will a person have upgraded their name die, right? Like the balance of those things. Like, are you gonna hit a D12 name die before you go home? You probably won't in a short campaign. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. So that's one form of advancement, right? Glory advances your name. When your hero reaches the end of their tail, the size of their name die determines the strength of their legend. Okay. When you mark your last box of pathos, you enter agony and can no longer press on without serious cost. When you enter agony, mark fate. Each mark is permanent, brings you closer to the end. When you would suffer pathos while in agony, mark fate instead. Okay, so agony and fate are, here's agony. So it's like a state of being. And again, I like it how it's top to bottom. Pathos, 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 pathos. Uh-oh, agony. Marking fate. You don't mark pathos anymore. You're taking death saves. When you are, agony is a state of mind. It's a state of being, which, like, big mood, right? You cannot recover from agony while you're on an island. Listen, agony is better than Antigone. You don't want to be in Antigone. That is way worse. I promise. So you can't recover from agony while you're on an island. During the voyage, you have to rest and recuperate, removing all your pathos and escaping agony. Okay, so if you get agonized while you're on the island, you got to be careful because you are now marking fate. Each hero may someday meet their fate. It may be glorious death in battle, a happy old age surrounded by family and friends, or a tragic end filled with sorrow. Fate is inexorable is how you pronounce that word, and cannot be resisted. So pathos is fine. Agony sucks. Fate is your like real hit points. So fate only increases. You can't reduce it. Mark a box of fate on your hero sheet when you enter agony, when you suffer pathos while already in agony, and when you're required to spend divine favor but have none. Right. When fate demands that you serve the gods, but you've been wrung out. You have no servitude left to give. So when your final fate box is checked, that's it. Your hero's story is over. You discover their legend and describe their epilogue. So I guess if you fill your fate before you reach home, all that comes back is your story, right? Your companions, your boon companions have to return home. I guess you come home on your shield instead of with it, right? So as you get closer to the end of your tale, you also grow in power. You earn advances as your fate increases and when you make progress towards home. Ah. Okay, all right. So you earn advancement. We talked about how you advance when you fill out this bad boy, right? When you fill out the Vault of Heaven. God, I guess I'm gonna have to learn what all these are. So you fill this out, but you also advance as you get closer to your demise, right? Ticking the boxes as you go. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm guessing this shield, now that we're looking at it, I'm guessing this shield is like the character portrait, right? Like what is on your shield? I guess you could draw like a cameo of your character's face. Or it could be like a lion or a scary face, Medusa head. Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's not a shield, it's a porthole. Different kind of ship, I think. Different kind of ship. All right. Okay. So as we get closer to fate, we also get better. We get cooler. So you earn 1 advance for every 3 stars every time you hit. And when you hit 1, 4, and 8 on fate, when you earn an advance, you pick one. Oh, I see. Advance your epithet die to D8. Advance a D6 die to D8. Advance a D8 die to D10. Or add another epithet. Yes. These, I want them. Right? Because then when you get to do your this is my favorite advancement because you have more variety of you can use your epithets more often, but sometimes you can use both. And like, it makes that phase that we talked about before where you announce yourself, right? Where you're like, I, glorious, trigomonstrous, wielder of whatever. And you get to do your whole fucking spiel. You're allowed to add another sentence. You get to brag some more. Your what is the your yop or whatever, yum, your big speech, your big like I'm shouting about how great I am. Yeah. When you've marked all your fate boxes, your hero's tale is almost an end. So you finish the current. Oh, that's nice. You finish the current island, then retire. Your hero's story comes to an end if you choose to die in a contest or if you return home. All right. Yeah. So I like that you get to finish it. You finish the island. It's not just like you get stabbed in the neck by a pirate, you're dead. It's like you finish out the island, but you get to YOLO because your shit is over. At the end of the session in which any heroes met their end, their players describe the legend for each hero by assessing their name, great deeds, and legendary virtues. Another ritualized behavior, right? Your hero's legend represents how they're remembered in song. Use a heavy dose of dramatic license to embody their legacy. Writing your legend will complete their name. While they're on their adventure, they were known by their epithet, name, and lineage. They will now be called by the titles they earned and the great deeds they performed. Right. Okay. Cool. I like it. I don't know how Nadja's character, Clever-Eyed Hagne, became a daughter of Hades, but I'm into it. So there's a bit to this, right? So your legendary title. Look to your 2 highest legendary virtues and choose one title from the appropriate list. So if your title, oh, that's cool. So it's like combo matching, right? Acumen and courage, acumen and grace, acumen and passion, courage and grace, courage and passion, grace and passion. Right. So you find the 2 that match and you pick a title from there. Okay. All right. And then you look over your great deeds and pick the one that was most meaningful for you. You can blend them together if you have a couple of them that you really like. And then, did you appease the gods and return home? You've been remembered as a hero or a myth like the monsters you bested. If the Vault of Heaven is complete and you return home, answer one of the following questions and add it to your epilogue. If you didn't return, answer one of these instead. What boon did the gods grant your people? What curse or burden befalls your people? This is the fiasco end game, right? You're looking at all the stuff that you did. You're looking at your pile of dice on the table, or in this case, all of the written bits on your little legacy paper. And then you're like, okay, here we go. Here are the things that I did. Here's my story. And I wish that more games had this kind of ritual. Most role-playing games suck at exiting characters from the game. Most games are like, you start playing, you make your character, you do stuff in the game, here's how you resolve stuff, and you just play forever. But wouldn't it be cool to have a ritualized behavior you could perform when a D&D character died? Or when you like accomplished a goal and retired your character, where you're like, oh, I set out to do this thing and now I am done. My adventure is life. I hang up the sword and I am done. Yeah, I think the thing with a lot of role-playing games, they're predicated on the idea that you can lose by having your character die, but there's no way to win, right? They're more like MMOs that way, where you just play and play and play and play and play, and you just, the game kind of dies of boredom, right? Or somebody doesn't like, they can't make it anymore and the game falls apart. It'd be really cool to be able to have something like this in more games, where it's like, we are going to recognize the character's natural skills and talents. And we're going to eulogize them because they died, or they're going to leave the party and they're going to get to have a little epilogue. I wonder how hard it would be to put something like this together. I guess you'd have to like record as you go. Yeah. So the final factor in your epilogue is the size of your name die, how much people know about you, right? Are you a notable character, a great hero, a legendary hero, or an epic hero that shall never be forgotten? Which I don't think you can do on a short journey, right? You got to be around long enough and survive long enough to build your name up to D12, right? So you almost like don't want to go home. You almost don't want to go home because you're like, no, I have not done enough epic deeds, right? I need time. There isn't time yet. We got to go to another island, right? That's pretty cool. I like that. And then if your hero's tale ends before you make it home, you can create a new hero and join in, right? So here's how, if you die on an island, but the journey continues, you are either a wandering hero who joins this band, a new ally from an island that you just left, right? Or a boon companion that has already been a part of the crew, and now you're like, I am also a hero. I could join you, right? Or like a younger sibling, or somebody stepping up to fill the gap, right? Yeah. And then you describe how you appear in the band. I like this. You may advance. This is quite cool. You may advance your fate track as far as you like, and take the advances now to represent your previous experience. So this way, if everybody's like D10 level glory, you can be like, yeah, I am also glorious, but I have been trapped on this island for 40 years. I am the forgotten sailor so-and-so who was, seduced by the gods and trapped on this island. And you have freed me. You have freed me from my prison, and I will join you, and we will go home to Greece together, or whatever, right? Whatever you want to call your fantasy version of Greece. That's cool. All right. So during the trial, we have bonds between each other and the gods. A loose currency of oaths, favors, and gratitude. So I guess the idea on the character sheet is you write the name of the other characters. Yeah, and that's a good point. Tris points out fate advances aren't glory. So your name is going to start at D6 no matter what, right? Even if you start the game with 8 fate, you don't have glory to bring home. You may have experiences, right? Advances. You might have epithets and domains, but you need to do things. You need to go into contests to win the game, right? To come out in a good way. Your name is not known yet. Yeah. Even though you may have some fate. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you, Tristan. So yeah, your bonds, you write them down here, and then I guess the idea is that you can do little tick marks after the bonds to indicate how many you have. And in character creation, you get 1 bond with each hero and 1 bond with a divine ancestor. If you're a demigod, mortals get 2 with each. And then you can sit out of a contest to provide support for someone else to give them your domain die. In battle, a hero player who earns the advantage die from the engagement phase can give it to someone else. And then during Voyage, you have fellowship to create new bonds. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And then when you spend a bond, you ask for them to bolster, block, or follow, and each one will add additional stuff. When you call on a bond with a god, the god's names are all D12s, and bonds with other powerful entities are also possible. Yeah, okay. So if you call upon your bond with like, Mother, heed my words. I need your strength in this conflict. And then Hera's like, yeah, all right, man, whatever. Here you go. You're a cool demigod, I guess. Here you go, kid. And you get your D12 because you call upon your bond with Mama up in heaven. Cool. And then winning a contest or being granted advantages will give you extra D6, 8s, or 10s, depending. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about Pathos, because Pathos is your hit points, basically. Pathos means, oh my God, let me see if I can remember this from my fucking literature class. Pathos is like, oh God, I always get it mixed up with bathos. Is it like pity, or like not pity, but like relatability to a character? Oh, I always get those two mixed up. I'm going to look. So Pathos, he was one of the musketeers, right? Aramis, Pathos. Yeah, a quality that evokes pity or sadness. Fuck yeah, I remembered. Yes, literature teachers of the world, rejoice. My stupid brain was capable of remembering something that you taught me. Hooray. All right. So Pathos, they get injured, discouraged, and exhausted. And a normal person would succumb to these hardships, but heroes are fueled by an inner fire that lets them press on. Right. So when you run out of Pathos, you enter agony and get close to your fate. These are your failure hit points. You can push yourself, marking Pathos to get additional dice. You can mark Pathos from harm, and you have to mark Pathos to enter conflict with epic opponents. Yeah, what? So Pathos is the pity one. So what's Bathos then? An effect of an anticlimax created by an unintentional lapse in mood from the sublime to the trivial or ridiculous. An amusingly failed attempt at being sublime. Abrupt transitions from a lofty style to a common or vulgar one, either accidental or intentional. Wow. All right. Sure. Cool. Good. So when you try to be serious and cool, and then you flub it and everybody laughs at you. Bathos. When Hamlet farts during his monologue. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Okay. All right. So anyhow, you mark Pathos as you go, and you remove it during fellowship. And that is how much Pathos do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then boom, agony. Okay. All right. I feel like the conversation of Pathos, Bathos, Porthos, Ethos, all of those things. This is one of those Twitter threads about like, oh, you're thinking of this word. Nope, you're thinking of this word. I think you mean this word. Good job, nerds. Good job, nerds and nerds in the chat. Okay, all right. So you mark your Pathos, you get closer to agony, and then in agony, you get closer to fate. If you fill up your fate, you're dead. However, as you get closer to your fate, you advance. Also, if you appeal to the gods and you please them, you can also advance as well. Okay, all right, cool. So divine favor is earned during character creation, in contests that gain the gods' attention, and during the voyage between islands. When you earn divine favor, you mark a diamond with a slash. Each hero gets 2 with their honored gods at the beginning, and then 3 more among the other gods. So that's these diamonds here. So if you are favored by Hecate, mark. And then you're like also slightly favored by Demeter, Hephaestus, and Hermes. Tick, tick, tick. Right? So that means I have the favor of insight twice, 1 conviction, 1 ingenuity, and 1 daring, right? So you can use them in those. Okay. All right. During an adventure, the Strife player may judge that a god is watching and offer a mark of divine favor to the heroes that prevail. During the voyage, they make a sacrifice to renew divine favor. Okay. All right. And these are the D4s. These are the bonus dice, which is funny because it's a blessing from the gods and it functions the same way as the bless spell does in D&D. It's cute. I don't necessarily think that's on purpose because the mechanics aren't the same, but I kind of love that's a nice little parallel. It's like you get an extra D4 and you roll it and you add, that's very cute. I like that. Cool. All right. So during the outcome of the contest, whether you suffer or prevail, you describe how the god infuses you and gives you, I fucking love this. In this game, I like that everybody is like kind of a cleric in the sense that we all have to like call out to a greater power, and also that those greater powers are sometimes just dicks and they get pissed at you and just take your stuff away. I sort of love it. Yeah. Now we got our fighter, our other fighter, and our cleric. They're going up against some Skeletors. All right, so this is the GM chapter, right? That's the deal here. Yeah, here we go. Tabletop RPGs Go. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but there's a couple of things you want to do. Get your players together. This is nice. This like putting the back text in here and saying like this is just send this to your players, and if they seem stoked, there you go. It's also, this is awesome. I think more games need this. This page just says if you love this game, like this is how you can sell it to other players, because sometimes that's hard, right? If we don't know, if we're like, I just really want to play Shadowrun, what should I tell my players to make them want to play it with me, right? I might know what I love about it, but it might be hard to boil that down. And you know that because this is a game that is being sold and it has some marketing thought behind it, the developers have thought about that and have been like, here you go. Just like, this is how you can pitch them. Send them the player's kit, read or send them this thing, mention some of the touchstones, say what it's like. That's a huge seller for games. If you're like, it's like X meets Y, right? It's like the Odyssey meets Pokemon, right? We want to attach things to comfort and familiarity. We want to do things that feel like we know what we're doing. And so we cling on to those things, right? So there's a note about tone. I like this. Speaking of Xena, a quick note about tone. The game itself, by default, the baseline is fairly serious, but you can get anachronistic and irreverent. Read the game pitch with a bit of bombastic movie trailer guy gravitas to know it's all in fun. Like it's the here's how to do it, right? Here's how to sell it, and here's what it feels like. Yeah. And this is helpful for me, where if I want people to watch a show based on this, it's easy, right? Because you've given me these 2 pages, and I could build something. I could make a trailer for this game out of this text. Yeah. Cool. It seems fun for a one-shot. It's the kind of game, I wonder, I'm trying to think, and I'm doing what I always do. I'm trying to think of like the people that I play with regularly. I wonder who would make good players for this game. I feel like you want people who like to talk. I feel like this is a game for people who like to take the spotlight and like really dig into it. I think Elf would be quite good. I was thinking Jesse and Zeke are both good options too. I feel like Elf would be a great player for this too. Yeah. You want like basically controlled showboaters. You want people, this is why Nadja is so good at the game, because Nadja is an excellent showboater. You want to be like, all right, here's your 3 minutes, you know, get up there and do your thing. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And I mean, this is what you do, right? When you have a game that you're excited about, you start thinking about like the kinds of people that would be good at it, because every game has its own like vibe, right? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And then it gives us our materials to play. I love this guy. This guy is my favorite Greek hero. Art Placeholder. He's the best. Man, I remember when Art Placeholder took on the advertising agency of Doom and killed them all single-handedly. Do you remember the legend of when Art Placeholder was first? He was first on Twitter to announce the arrival of his new game. Man, I love him. Art Placeholder. This one's for you. Hold the place. So during the first session, create your heroes, run through the leadership phase, take a break, jump into the arrival, and do an island. Run through the Exodus and Voyage if you have time. Otherwise, do it at the beginning of session 2. Since the game is episodic, it'll be pretty similar after that. Once everybody is familiar with the game, you can complete an island in one session of play. So I figure probably if you wanted to do a one-shot where no one had ever played before, you would want to do like what, 45 minutes, an hour to do creating heroes, understanding the basics of the game, doing the leadership phase. You'd want like an hour for that, take a break, and then like another 3 hours for like the island. I feel like you could probably do it, especially if as a GM you had like core conflicts that you thought would be happening, and then like maybe some bonus ones to help eat up time, or like ones you could cut to sort of like push through. Yeah, I wonder, like, because a lot of convention games are like two-hour slots. I guess we'll look at it. I want to see how the islands are structured and like how much you could add or cut to control pacing. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So you continue on. You switch off the Strife Player if you're doing a campaign. Appropriate for one-shot and convention slots. Since long-term advancement isn't relevant, focus on the great deeds to reward the heroes of their play. Okay, all right. God bless you, Art Placeholder. Hold the place. So yeah, here's our stuff. This is what you do as the Strife Player. So you pick an island from the book that looks interesting to you. Make some notes if it sparks any ideas. Read the island intro, Signs of the Gods, and the arrival out loud. And then the hero players decide what to do about it. Each island has a set of trials they may face. Explore, make discoveries, contend with villains. They need you to guide them. So reveal the situation, ask questions and build on the answers, judge contests and resolve the outcomes into new situation. Reveal, ask, judge. Raj. Do those three things to continue through the adventure. So I'm not going to read this entire thing, but the idea here is that each thing gives them something to attach to and to push on through, and a conflict to resolve, and then that will lead into one or more additional options for conflict. So let's take a look at what each step requires from us as the GM, right? So reveal the situation by telling them what they know and what they might suspect. Each island begins with an introductory passage you can use as the first reveal to get the ball rolling. Reveal what they know, but describing what they see and hear. So role-playing game stuff, right? Reveal what they suspect by describing the overall impression they get. Is the situation desperate, cheerful, forlorn? Is there an apparent danger? Oh, reveal what the heroes suspect is like announcing future badness, right? It's like, yes, on the surface, everyone is dancing about and singing, but dark clouds are forming on the horizon. Or like, there is a melancholy among these people, and you're used to a hero's welcome when you arrive, but the eyes of these people are sad and empty. Something haunts them, right? Yeah, give them insights, give them opportunities. Yeah, barf forth mythologica, I guess. And then, yeah, keep it simple, right? Don't overdo it. Get to the point, describe to them what is going on. And when they ask a question, either reveal an answer or propose a contest. Seems to make sense, right? If somebody is like, can I tell this thing? You either are like, say yes or roll the dice, right? And then don't try to deceive them. Be honest and direct. I think a lot of the time we struggle with this as GMs when we're like, I don't know, you have to earn this information. You got to make an investigation check and the DC is really high. And we all know there's something to know here, but for some reason, I'm not going to tell you. So I think you can just tell the players, like, here's what's up. Deal with it, I guess, or how are you going to deal with it? Yeah. And then reveal the situation in motion, right? Don't just like slowly build up to it. Give them the epic shit to get to, right? If you don't know what to say what's obvious to you. Say what makes sense, what you're thinking. Summarize what a character says. John Harper it, right? This is the other John Harper thing. And I actually joke about it and I tease John about this tactic, but it totally works. Summarize what a character says or does instead of trying to find the perfect words, right? Instead of being like, I have a long-winded speech written out for the king. You can say, with tears in his eyes, the king delivers a speech expounding on the glories of his island, knowing full well that everyone on the island might die. This is the saying, like, the king delivers a speech. The king delivers, like, think about a moving speech that a king might deliver. That's what he does, right? I think it's a valid tactic because it turns the imagining over to the players. They might imagine specific little details. They're going to do that anyway because they're players and you can't communicate one-to-one with their brain. Capturing the essence and the spirit of the thing is way more important than the nuanced specificity of the moment, because there's no amount of specifics that you're going to be able to deliver that will perfectly capture what's in your mind and put it in other players' brain. That's what's fun. One part of what's fun about role-playing games is that interpreting each other's words. And then ask the group for help. I want the Great Serpent to look special in some way, but I can't think of anything good. Man, that is I don't want to like overlook it because I think it's important that we look at this, but like that's a feeling that I think a lot of GMs in a lot of games feel, but are so scared to say. Like, it's a red dragon, guys, and like it looks really like I don't know, what do you think a big scary red dragon looks like? Like, help embellish the details, because players, I find that the players that want to help and want to embellish the details will jump out to help you. And the players that don't, they'll just be like, yeah, that all sounds good. That's cool. But like you as the GM, and this is true of this game and it's true of every goddamn game, you don't have to know every single goddamn thing. You are painting this portrait together. Ask the players what the Great Serpent looks like. I mean, this is, I don't know. Again, it's one sentence. It's easy to think like, well, yeah, duh, but like, not duh. Ask. And there it is. Ask. Drive the game forward, asking leading questions, right? Imagine a way forward, address the situation, ask if they'll commit to that approach or something else, right? An obstacle. If there's an obstacle to their goal, how do they overcome it? If there's a threat, how do they contend? Is it a mystery? How do they uncover the truth, right? Which, you know, you want to go through these things and just ask them, like, how do you deal with this thing in front of you? A good leading question implies something is at stake. If you don't do anything, a bad thing is going to happen. What are you going to do about that, right? And then for me, the little thing that I would poke at, the sore spot, or like the little bit would be like, are you going to let these other characters show you up, right? There's a little bit of that, like, what are you, chicken? Poke, poke, poke. Bok, bok, bok. Like, I thought that you were, you know, Thragrestus the Brave, bold-hearted, right? Strong-armed. Like, there's clearly an opportunity for you to prove your worth, right? Was it and now Faramir, man of Gondor, will show his character, right? Like, again, and I'm making a joke, but this is that Faramir moment. This is the, like, what are you, not as brave as your dead brother? Like, come on, Faramir, get on the damn horse and go ride out and save Gondor. Yeah, it's you and your 10 guys. That's right, show his quality. That's what it was, yeah. So, like, come on, Faramir, get on the damn horse. And Faramir's player is like, oh, man, I'm already in agony. So, all right, Dad, whatever. I get on the damn horse. Now for wrath, now for ruin. Here we go. That's right, get in the fucking robot, Shinji. I don't know. Maybe this is just from playing a lot of Burning Wheel, but my style of GM is adversarial in that sense of like prodding the players towards greater glory to be like, yeah, but what are you going to do about it? Right. And then build on their answers, right? As they describe the situation, you incorporate, they incorporate, you go back and forth, and you build that stuff. And then John gives us some good questions to ask, right? So most of the gameplay of the game is contests, right? We dig in and we do these contests. The Strife player's job is to propose them, determine the domain, and describe the outcome. So look for opportunities to jump in and be like, boop, do the thing, right? Don't be overcautious. This is a contest. Jump in. Let's roll some dice. We're playing a game. It's going to be fun. Let's do it. That's right. You determine the domain of the contest by listening to the players and what they're describing and then picking the right thing to fit. This is like, it sounds like you're hacking and slashing. And then they're like, well, actually, I'm trying to defend, right? Sounds like you're trying to defy danger. And they're like, no, actually, I'm trying to manipulate. I'm trying to parlay with a character, right? It's like having that conversation where you say something and then have your players push back and say, well, it sounded more like this, right? Working together to do that. And then describing the outcome, right? Resolving what's at stake. Because remember, they all describe how they win, and then it's your job to make the outcome final and then move on to the next thing. We're playing to continue, right? We play to find out what happens to the island. The island is the character who's really at stake. Yeah. So there you go. Avoid trying to tell a story, right? Just do your job and let the story emerge. Don't worry about anyone. This is like the opposite of every piece of GM advice, like every bad GM advice piece I've ever seen. Don't worry about anyone else's fun. This is like, I'm so excited. This is revolutionary because so much advice is like, well, the game master, it's your job to make everyone have a good time. And if anyone's not having fun, it's your fault. In this, they're entertaining you, you're entertaining them. The whole outcome is not on you. You all work together. Don't worry about anyone else's fun. Work with your players to all entertain each other. And then don't pull your punches, right? Like, describe what's at stake. Like, don't go easy on them because they're epic heroes. It'll reduce the impact of the big good stuff if you just do the bad stuff, right? So yeah, gives us some additional advice. Every island is plagued with strife. We talked about how strife is 4, 5, or 6. You can raise the strife level when the scale goes up, right? If you fail to stop an opponent and the situation on the island gets worse, but if they remove a source of strife, you could pull back. But it's 4, 5, or 6 no matter what, right? So that's cool. So what do we do, right? Praxis, how do we do this? So this is a bunch of advice on applying specific rules and who is responsible for what, right? I think this is great. This is a nice like re-up on those things. And then at the end of the book, we'll have, at the end of this section, we'll have an expression of play. How does it all work? And then, whoa, this is really nice looking. And then we have a cool island. So these are the built-in islands. Wait a second. Akaros. Wait a minute. I see you. I see you, John Harper. All right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at these islands. And these islands, again, this is the book layout version, and it's fucking awesome. But we also get these in the player kit. So listen, if that's the Akaros, I think it is. This would not be the first John Harper game that crosses multiple games with the same universe. So this is the player version, the player kit version of the islands. So they're presented this way when you lay them out on the board, right? You put them down as paper, and then they're also laid out in book format here. So let's see. So Cryos, which I have to assume is an island named after Judd. It gives us signs of the gods, right? Hera, Zeus, and Hermes, and their various signs. And then when you arrive on the island, here's the thing, right? The pirate queen has stolen the Pillar of Storms. We're defenseless. The harpies shall slay us. There's some NPCs, and then there's some turmoil, trials, and then sort of the final battle. Right. This is great. So they're like miniature settings, right? These are like 4-page or 3-page and some art settings that describe where are you, what gods are here, what's going on, and what kinds of things might happen, right? What kind of trials and battle might you encounter, right? And then places and special words. This is a lot like it's a lot like random tables in Stars Without Number, right? You generate a setting by using these little details. So my version of Cryos might not contain all of these details, right? I'm a different GM than you are. I might not pull in certain details. And we may resolve this pirate queen situation with violence or with song, or we might seduce the pirate queen, right? Like we have a bunch of different ways to come at it, but they're seeds for what your particular adventure might look like. So we have built in to this version of the game, there'll be more, obviously. There's Cryos, Nemos, Soros, and Ion. Are you going to get crushed by this giant or not? Yeah, what's going on in Soros? Let's see. You arrive at the port of Soros. You see the guardhouse, which blocks the land bridge, has its gates thrown open. Frightened Ionians, clutching a few belongings. Oh, Ionians, they're so negative. I hope my science is right on that bad joke. Stream through. In the distance of Ion, you hear a titanic shout. As if from a man the size of a mountain, the earth trembles beneath your feet. I mean, I guess some of the Ionians are positive, right? They're not all negative. Okay, cool. All right. So there's that one, Soros and Ion. And then there's Akaros. Akaros is an isle from myth and legend, said to be the pleasure garden of the nymph Orphne, torchbearer of Hades. It possesses only a single dwelling atop a forested hill, with strange lights flickering all about in the darkness. As your ship approaches the tiny isle, you realize the sunrise has bathed you in its red glow for too long. The sun has stopped in the sky just below the horizon, the world trapped in twilight. Uh-huh. Is that so? As you disembark, you see the strange lights atop the hill are ghostly blue flames, covering the manor house like a veil. From deep within, mournful weeping can be faintly heard. All around the hill, scores of shadowy, translucent figures wander, desolate shades of the dead, somehow freed from their toil in the underworld. The sailors quail and lose heart. This is a haunted place. I hope you brought some blades to this darkness. That's great. Yeah, and then we'll get into creating your own island from concept to finished content. That's fun for me. Like I love the idea, and again, because this is how I think and because this is my mode for playing role-playing games, I could imagine doing, like, you do an island. I guess you would do prep for the first island, do character creation, do that first island, then do a prep stream for another island, do the island, prep stream, island, go back and forth. You could make like a pretty decent, like, short show using this game. Yeah. Cool. And then here's all our compendia, right? Hero creation, battle summary, right? Like all the rules smooshed up in the back of the game. And then lexicon. So we had asked about this, I guess. So John does this thing sometimes where it looks like the bolding, right? Remember we asked this way back at the beginning. We were like, how do we know if an opponent is worthy? Is that a game design term? And it is. It's important to the game, but there's no clear indication of it. It just calls on you to understand like what worthiness is. It's just a way for John and Sean to highlight this, to say, this is a term that will matter, but it may not have a mechanical value. Yeah. Cool. So that is Agon. Anyway, it's pretty baller. There are some actual plays of it. I think there was one on the actual play channel. Let me take a look. And see. There was another one on. Let's see. First look, because I love being able to see this stuff in action. Here we go. Okay, So let's see. Right now, it looks like, yeah, here we go. So again, John, Sean, Tara, and Strash on actual play. Sean, Rev, Jake, Tass, and Tej played it on the Crit Show as well. So that's cool. Yeah, so I guess that's a podcast. Yeah, so if you want it in audio form, or if you wanna watch everybody play, then there's that as an option as well. I see Ash on here too. Hi, Ash. And then it looks like we're getting, right, of course, islands, bonus islands from designer. Yeah, of course, that totally makes sense. Yeah, so the game is going to be in full color. We've so far got islands. We've got islands from Allison, Ben, Whitney, and we're working on getting one from Gian. That sounds cool. I am excited. This looks like a cool game. It's currently in Canadian. It's at 44,000 of the 13,000 they need. So it's funded. It's good to go. And you know what, John did not need my help to get it funded. But if you're interested, you want to check out the game, use that link I posted in chat, that bit.ly link, bit.ly/Agon first look. Go and give it a look. I'm excited. It looks like there's a lot of cool new stuff in this from the first game. I really like seeing John and Sean taking their actual play experiences, like what it's like to play role-playing games with them, and condensing them down into a game, right? Putting it in a role-playing game and making those rules. As with so many of the games that I get to do a first look on, this game looks like it would be pretty fun to do as a one-shot. Maybe when it comes out, maybe when it's like finished, I'll look at doing something, because I don't know, who doesn't like playing a character and doing some showboating and taking on epic challenges. So yeah. Well, cool. So thank you for coming, everybody, and checking out this first look. Sean and John, thank you for sending me the preview version and for sponsoring this stream. I'm super excited. I wish you all of the best in your future with Kickstarter. I hope you sell 1 billion copies of your game, and it's really cool to have another game added to the library of fun games that would be cool to stream. Make sure you go check out the Kickstarter. Throw those folks a follow on Twitter for design updates and what have you. And if you have some time, go and check out the actual plays, because they're pretty cool. That's it for me for now. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you next time for more first looks. Bye, y'all.